Everybody's talking about how much time you have right now. But do you? Do you really? Or do you still have a long list of things that you want to get done? In fact, you're probably managing your time even less efficiently now. And that's because you can't manage time. It's energy, not time, that's the fundamental currency of high performance chiropractors. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. I forget what day it is here in this pandemic time. Anyways, today we're going to be doing an exercise called Getting Out of the Gray Zone. Something I learned from a book called The Power of Full Engagement by Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz. Definitely the potential to be a life-changing book, so something I have on my book list for people to read. I highly recommend you check it out. It's an exercise I've been using with my clients for years to get them out of the gray zone. We'll explain what that means here in a few seconds. Two things for housekeeping first. Well, first is question of the day. So what job or profession would you know you'd be awful at? Just a fun, silly little question. So think about it. Give me one job that you think you'd be terrible at. If you weren't a chiropractor and you were doing this job, that you'd probably get demoted. For me, really, it'd be anything manual labor, which is not to put down manual labor at all, because I couldn't do it, which is funny because I like to go to the gym. I like to lift heavy things. But if it were, Hector says, a chef, which I think I would actually be pretty good at. Anyways, I like to lift heavy things, but if someone told me, hey, move that pile from there to there, I would just get bored and it wouldn't take long for me. In fact, a lot of times, projects around the house that I get excited about, like building the kids a treehouse that I've been talking about for years and just haven't done. When it gets to that, I think I would like it, but there's been times, give you an example. There's one time I was going to I had to fix a fence or build a fence for our animals. And I went to Menards to get the stuff for fencing. In Menards, buying the wood, I called my guy. I was like, I'm already bored. So I called my guy and had him come build the fence. I actually went and got the stuff, but it's just not stuff that I'm good at. It's not stuff that I desire to do. Like I said, I get excited about it for a short period of time. So that's my job profession. Again, Hector said he would not be a good chef. I would actually love being a chef. I see Hector, Casey, John joining us here. So that's a fun question. Answer down below for me. I see Curry joining me as well. What's one job profession that you know you'd be awful at? Second piece of housekeeping is we did get the Chiropractor Survival Guide video and download finished. There is a link in the comments down below. Just click that. It will take you to the High Performance Chiro group. If you're not in there yet, you are going to have to join the group. You can leave at any time. You can watch the video and get out of there for all I care. The download I have not uploaded to High Performance Chiro yet. We were actually putting together a little web page where you can download it. I looked at that this morning. There were still a couple little things that I needed to change, so that will be up very, very, very shortly. But for now, you can go watch the video. You can see the download. Everything is there for you. Just click that link down there. It's about a 20-minute video, but from the feedback I've been getting, great information. I tried to compact it as well as I possibly could. Very useful information, so please go check that out. John says anything tedious or detail-oriented, like an archaeologist, which is, I think, what my son wants to become. He wants to find dinosaur fossils. That's an archaeologist, right? I think every 8-year-old boy wants to do that, though, so probably not that big of a deal. All right, so housekeeping's done. Click on that link. Go watch the Chiropractor Business Survival Guide video and also answer that question of the day for me. Thanks for playing along, Hector and John. All right. Getting all my stuff set up here. Good. So, again, we're talking today about the power of full engagement. Again, books by Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz. Go check that out. In reading that, they compare everything to professional athletes in full engagement. And they say that basically 50% of the time we're not really engaged at all. In dealing with high-performance chiropractors, get questions from other chiropractors who don't feel like they're there yet, about the balance that those chiropractors have in their life, that they're surprised that they have such balance when they're getting so much done. And funny thing is, it's not always the case. Sometimes they have given up sacrificed things like family and other things to get the success that they've had. I don't recommend that. But when we're looking at balance, there's actually a lot of things that we want to look at there. Balance, unfortunately, can be part of the problem when it comes to full engagement. For me, balance is to be able to do the things that you want to do, but to be able to be fully engaged in those things while you're doing them. So what I mean by that is if you have a great family life, or you say you have a great family life, and I hear a lot of people say it, but when I see them with their family, I know that they're on their phone, they're checking things out, they're thinking about work. Sorry, John, name of the book is The Power of Full Engagement. And they're not really paying attention to their family. And the same thing goes for work. And I see it because, again, I spend a lot of time inside chiropractors' offices. So I see some really powerful chiropractors, but also some that are not quite there yet. And I see the difference between them all. And some of the ones that are not quite there yet are not fully engaged. There are chiropractors that I see that when they're with a patient, if they spend 2 minutes with a patient, that patient thinks they spent 10 minutes with them. Because they're fully engaged, because they're tuned in, because everything about them is giving off an energy that they care about that patient. They're fully engaged with that patient, and the patient gets a better service in 2 minutes than some chiropractors give in 10, 12, 15 minutes. And those are the chiropractors that are not fully engaged. In fact, they're the ones that see a patient, then run in the back and check an email. They have their phone out during patients. I've seen people with the Apple Watches actually be adjusting and the Apple Watch pops and they're like, while they're in the middle of adjustment, that's not being fully engaged. And we're going to do an exercise today to try to get you fully engaged, get you out of that gray zone where, again, there's a weird word for balance there, but where you're not engaged in anything. Again, this book compares you to a professional athlete. Imagine a professional athlete being out on the field or the court or whatever it might be, and them not being fully engaged in that play. And you've seen some of the prima donna professional athletes not be there in a certain game, so you can see the difference of how they perform. But when they're performing at their highest level, they are fully engaged, and it's no different in the chiropractic office. You've got to be fully engaged in the things that you're doing. So what I want you to be able to do is do a little exercise here to get you out of the gray zone. And again, for me, having seen what I've seen, that patient time thing, example I give quite a bit. I've seen a lot of chiropractors that they go back to their office and sit down in between a couple patients, and they start getting into some project or an email or something of that nature, and then they get a phone call, from the front desk staff saying, hey, there's a patient in room 1 or on table 1 or whatever it might be. And I've actually seen that doctor go, okay, I'll be right there. And then continue to type away on that email. Continue to focus on the email. Think about the engagement there. Think about when they finally get up from there, and they're probably still not finished. They're typing finish, and they're like, oh, okay, I'll go see that patient now. When they get to that patient, are they fully engaged? No, they're still on that email. They're still thinking about the things that they wrote, should have wrote, didn't write. And when they're with the patient, again, they're thinking about that email. But even on that email, they're thinking about that patient. They're not fully engaged in either thing. I mentioned in the intro that it's energy, not time. That's the fundamental currency of high performance, meaning you can't manage time. We don't have enough of it. There's not enough time to get the things you do. But you can manage your energy. And you can manage your energy in the things that are a priority to you. And that's what's important. In the book, they talk about life being a series of sprints. That if you can get that series of sprints, and that's kind of how I've lived my life. Like even right now, from 7 o'clock this morning, everything else got shut down. There was no email, there's no nothing else. I actually did see a message come through from somebody I was talking to, and it was like, well, I'm in this now. From 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm taking care of the show, and then everything else is shut down. My wife knows not to come downstairs. At 9, the kids come downstairs to do school. That's their new schoolhouse right there. But 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., that's my time. That's my sprint to get everything done with the show. And if I don't get it done by 9, it's not going to get done because I'm fully engaged during this time. And you need to be that same way in your life. You need to manage your energy during the times that's most important to you. So for me, again, as someone who talks about cluster booking with patients and having good shifts, good sprints of patients, is when you're on patient time, you need to be on patient time. You can't be thinking about what's on your phone or checking your emails, doing that kind of stuff. You need to be in that time. So those are times for you, which I'm kind of giving you the questions you need to ask yourself, which is to sit down and do a little exercise. the last few Tuesdays, we've done some exercises, right? We've sat down and we've closed up some open loops. We've cleared off our mental desk. This is a very important time for you to find when you're in the gray zone and get yourself out of it. Just gaining awareness will help you. Gaining awareness of when you need that uninterrupted, really focused time. So what I want you to do is get out a piece of paper, write down 5-6 areas of your life where you feel like you're not fully engaged, where you don't have that uninterrupted focused time. I have a client right now too that one of the things he was talking about, just having that uninterrupted time with his wife that he doesn't get, which, by the way, I just told you I come down here at 7, from 6 to 7 is my wife time. We sit down and do our journaling, do our morning routine together. That's a time that we've committed to each other and we're fully engaged and neither one of us has our phones. He was looking to do that as well with the wife time. But spending an hour of focused time is a lot better than a minute here, 3 minutes there, 6 minutes there, to get that fully engaged time. So I want you to write down areas where you don't feel like you're fully engaged. Just write them out. Normally I would stop the video. I can't stop it right now. And I want you to think about your priorities. Think about the 3-5 things that are the most important to you that require not just time, but your energy. Focused energy. Put a little star next to them. And then one of the most important things after you've asked yourself those questions of where you're not fully engaged is to set aside some very uninterrupted, very focused time to work on your highest valued activities. Obviously, we get distracted, again, especially since I'm homeschooling now. It's very easy to get distracted, but if you can find an hour, maybe more. I talked about earlier that life is a series of sprints, and for me, that's the way I've always worked, is 45 to 50-minute sprint. I oftentimes set a timer throughout the late morning and afternoon where I'm like, I got a project to do, I got 45 minutes to do it, and I'm sprinting, and I'm focused, and I'm energy, and nothing else can distract me. And then once that's over, I go grab a snack, I check some email, I do some things, and then I come back and do another sprint. This is a place where you need to set those times aside. If there's something, a project we talked about yesterday, projects that you want to get done that you haven't gotten done, this is the time to put some time in your schedule. I've got an hour block here where I'm just going to turn everything else off. I'm not going to have my phone on me, and I'm going to do that focused time, get out of the gray zone, and really focus on getting that high-valued activity done. And once you've done that 45 minutes to 50, you've gotten some good progress on it, the momentum will take over and you'll either continue it or you'll at least have enough progress that you're like, oh, I want to get back to that. And you'll get a lot more done in a shorter period of time. Multitasking is a myth. We're going to talk about that here in the next couple of weeks. But for right now, I want you to do the exercise of getting out of the gray zone. Write down the places where you feel like you're in the gray zone and set aside some focused time to work on your highest valued activities. And you're going to see a noticeable difference this week. As I mentioned to you, there's the Chiropractic Business Survival Guide is in the comments down below, so go check that out, please. And also, there is a cost to that Chiropractic Survival Guide. Many of you may not know that. The cost is feedback. So after you watch it, please leave me some feedback underneath the video. Tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you're going to change. And I would just like that feedback. So that's the cost of watching that. Look at John. He says, showing that the power of full engagement works. He went to the office yesterday, hammered out 5 Facebook videos, which was his project he said he was going to get done yesterday. So I'm sure once he got there, there's nobody else around. There was full engagement. Fantastic, John. I'm very, very happy for you and very proud of you. Tomorrow is perfect case acceptance. Really what I've been getting the best feedback from on these Coffee with Dr. Scott shows. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about stopping the self-sabotage, getting out of your own way to patient success as well as practice success. So do not miss that one. I do not have that show scheduled yet, so you can't get a reminder. But keep your eyes out for it later today. When I do schedule the show, make sure you click that little get reminder button so you do not miss tomorrow's show. Perfect case acceptance, stop the self-sabotage. Make sure you do your exercise today to get out of the gray zone and get fully engaged to get more done in your day.